There it is. Okay.
I figured something out that Brian could. Yay!
I'm so proud of you.
I'm so proud of me too.
They say two heads are better than one, and right now we have like 1.5.
No, we don't. You figured all this out except for the one thing I did. Yay! Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Maureen Rulison.
And I'm Brian LeBlanc.
And we are
Dementia Strong.
So first I wanted to talk about what happened with creating the new Facebook page. We had the We Are Dementia Strong Facebook page. Somehow Brian got locked out of being able to be any kind of an administrator, post on there, anything. And so while I know that it's the probably most foolish thing that we're going to do, we created a new Facebook page called Dementia Strong. And we're going to try to maintain both of them until we get everybody moved over to the new one. But we have got to let Brian have administrative and ability to post on there. So if somebody it's hearing this, knows Facebook and knows what might have happened that would not allow me to add him, we even had him go in and create a new Facebook page personally so that I could add him with a different email, and that didn't work. So we don't know who or what little gerbil went in there and clicked something, but we can't get him in there. So Dementia Strong is the new Facebook page. We're keeping both of them going for a while.
Right. And it's gonna be the same content and everything else. But it's just going to be under a different name. So
I want to say good morning to Phyllis. How are you, Phyllis? Is it cold up in Canada still? And Mike Nixon. Mike, I know you guys are doing some packing. You've been in my prayers. And Melinda, I saw all of the things you posted about your music business. And I have to tell you, you guys, if you go to Melinda Marks, and her last name is Burgard Facebook page, you'll see what amazing things she's doing with music for persons living with dementia. And good morning, Quinn and Arthenia. And who else? Am I missing any? Cindy! Hi, Cindy Snell. How are you? I miss you.
She gets so excited.
Well, I miss all of my peeps.
I know.
Cindy's definitely one of my peeps.
I've never met Cindy, but I'm sure she'll be my peep. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
that ended that conversation.
That sure did. Sorry. My brain went this way and then it just didn't hit there.
So today's Facebook Live is about meaningful engagement.
Yeah. No.
You act like that's the first time you've heard that.
Well, I did have to ask her what we were talking about right before we came on. So, and I know we discussed it earlier in the week. But yeah, so there.
Hi, Linda Peter Savage. Good morning. So I want you all to please, if it's possible, to just grab a scrap piece of paper or something you can write on with a pen or a pencil or whatever. If you can, please go ahead and do that. And I'm going to explain why you're looking for that, what we're going to do. I'm going to ask you to write down 5 meaningful activities in your life. And when I say that, it can be having a cup of coffee in the morning. It can be doing yoga. It can be reading the newspaper. 5 things that are really, really meaningful in your life. And please write those down. Doesn't have to be detailed. We're not going to share. It's going to be for you only.
Hey, I know somebody that does yoga.
Quinn does yoga.
That's who I was mentioning, but I didn't mention her name.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about you because you don't.
No,
That's called lifting a glass of wine.
I did yoga. It does strengthen the muscle. I did yoga once, and I had to rest for 4 or 5 days. So.
And by the way, we didn't do yoga. We did stretching.
We were on a yoga mat. We did yoga. So. Anyway.
Okay, so if you've written down your 5 things in the list and you number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want you to know that I now have the power to take away 3 of those from you. You no longer can do 1, 3, and 5. They're out of your life and gone. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to replace them with bingo, listening to music from the 50s, and watching Gunsmoke. Those are now, you got to keep 2 that you had on your list, and now those 3 I just named are now your meaningful activities. How meaningful are those to you? What are your feelings right now that I just took away 3 really important things to you? And on top of that, I now decided for you what 3 of your 5 meaningful activities were.
And how does it feel to just being, basically you were told, this is what you're going to watch. This is part of your everyday thing that you're going to do. So how does it feel to not even have any type of decision-making process?
Mike Nixon said, those were my 1, 3, and 5. Mike, we need to get you a life. But okay, good. I'm glad. Then you would be very happy with me.
Tell Miss Kitty we said hi.
You would be very happy with me if I did that. But I would say that maybe all the other people listening would be very upset with me. And if they had no ability to get away from me, if I was in charge of their life all of the time, I would imagine that would begin to create a depression, anger, resentment. And when you're in a situation where you have very little power and you can't do anything to change your situation, I would think that would begin to create what the world likes to call behaviors. What I like to call is normal reactions. And
that idea instantly made me stressed.
Exactly. And Melinda said be horrible.
Yeah.
So I want to believe that most people, whether they're dealing with one individual in a home setting or whether it's in a care community setting, most people don't intentionally do this to persons living with dementia or any other, just in the aging process or any other disability. I think they probably take classes that tell them you should have people play bingo. Just FYI, if any of you are around when it's my turn to go in the care community, if they make me play bingo, you're going to find me hanging from someplace. I always tell my clients that are going into a care community, think of it this way. You have to be able to successfully win a bingo game to get into the pearly gates. It's not a very well-known fact. So look at it as practice for your future.
There you go.
But I often find that, again, unintentionally, I try to tell Brian what his meaningful activities are, like yoga. I don't really care if the yoga is meaningful to him. He needs the exercise.
But this also goes back, and I know I might be repeating what we talked about before, but one day Maureen decided to change my sweetener for my coffee and went from, I've used Splenda for decades, and she went to stevia. And then she noticed that I wasn't drinking my coffee. And she asked me, she goes, why aren't you drinking my coffee? And that's when I told her, I said, suppose I took your Diet Dr. Pepper and just took it away and replaced it with Diet Coke. How would you feel?
Which, by the way, I'm no longer drinking any of those.
She stopped drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, and I'm so proud of her for that. That was a tough thing for her to do. So
anyhow, back to the thing. So he asked me how I'd feel. He asked me how I'd feel.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd be angry and I'd be mad and I'd go get my own Diet Dr. Pepper.
Right. So, and I said, well, that's how I feel, that you just took it upon yourself to change something that has been part of me for a very, very long time. And then, so that's why we asked you to do this little exercise to let people know how it may feel to not discuss this with your person or relative or whoever it may be, and just take it away from them and replace it with something that you don't even know if they like it or dislike it, but that was your decision and that's the way it is. And Maureen left me. Uh-oh. I'm by myself. Woohoo! So anyway, it's, I find myself looking for things that I used to.
Your award. Where did you put it?
Oh, it's up on the white thing.
Yeah, don't change things.
I don't change things. Says she know who she's talking to, Anyway, she's so yeah, if you just take it upon yourself to
so let's talk about what a better way to do it is, in my never to be humble opinion. Brian did a video to his future care. Quinn said he's unsupervised. Not for long, Quinn. So Brian did a video to his future care partners. He talked about what kinds of music he liked, what kind of TV shows he liked, what kind of activities he liked, what kind of art he liked. I think, number one, if we are at a place in our life that we can do this ahead of time and plan for and communicate with other people what is important to us, yay, that's what we need to do. But if the person living with dementia can't, then their closest family member, which, think about this, that puts me as the one telling everybody what you like. Yep, that's what you get.
Yep.
You'll be playing bingo.
I kind of like bingo.
Yeah, you won't after about.
Except I don't understand how people, professional bingo people, they play like 12 cards.
Okay. Squirrel!
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
So go ahead and either write down in a book or video what's important to you. And if the person living with dementia isn't able to do it for them. And then watch what's happening with yourself. Because, again, I sometimes sit and plan things in my brain that I think, oh, this will be wonderful. I can just improve Brian's quality of life 100 times over by doing this. And then I don't even discuss it with him. And I wonder why he's not so enthusiastic. And then watch yourself. It's good to have a partner, somebody who you can trust as a care partner to, Brian, the bingo bookie, someone who you can trust to be honest with you and say, hey, I've been watching what you've been doing. And, here you said you didn't want to blah, 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 and can check you because, I'm here all by myself figuring out whether or not what I'm doing is on the straight and narrow. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes I've gone off the path and don't even realize it. But I try not to, Quinn, leave Brian unsupervised too often because. So, you want to show everybody what you got this week?
Okay. I got this this award, and I know you can't really see the writing on it, so I'm going to read it. I was awarded this by the Alzheimer's Association for North and Central Florida, and it was presented to me by Richard Prudhomme, who is the secretary for the Department of Elder Affairs. And not only is he a wonderful man and has the people living with dementia at the forefront, he's also my friend. I've been knowing him since 2015. So he presented this to me. It says, "This is the Legacy Award for Lifetime Achievement presented to Brian LeBlanc for outstanding advocacy and leadership." I thought, I never thought that I would get something like this. They awarded this to me for my advocacy, and just not giving up. Linda Burham says she can't hear us.
Can everybody hear us? Type in the chat, please. Let us know that you can hear us.
Well, I think because of the comments,
Yeah, but did something go off all of a sudden?
I don't know.
Anyway, we're going to keep on talking until we're told that we're not. Matthew Christopher, what's the old saying? Yes, Mike can hear us. Don't bring up politics, religion, and her.
Yeah, but then he said that would just pertain to him. Okay, so where
Thank you, everybody. So anyhow, we were talking about meaningful engagement.
Yes, okay.
And then my next question is, and I, as always, want to point out that I in no way, shape, or form think I'm the expert, and here's something that I just flat out don't know the answer to. When someone who is living with dementia is just sitting and doing nothing, I know there's some of that that's good, but at what point am I supposed to be trying to encourage Brian to be engaged in something meaningful? Now, to him, being on his phone or on his computer and engaging on social media is very meaningful. And so I understand that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but that doesn't matter. It's not my life. But I don't always feel comfortable knowing when it's time to say, Brian, we need to do something other than just sit. I know that the social media is engaging your brain, and that's awesome. It's also, keeping you engaged with people. That's awesome. But just sitting when you're capable physically of not just sitting. I never know when's the time in the balance of everything to try to encourage you to do that. And so I'd love to hear people's opinions on that. I'd love to learn from you all what you think so that I can help to make a healthy decision for Brian and for me when it's time to try to direct him towards something that is physically active.
And I mean, I'm not contradicting what you just said, but no. I'm just trying to explain it. In my mind, I know that right now, because of COVID, the majority of my advocacy is online, whether it's through a post, whether it's through Facebook Live, whether it's through webinars or all this. So I'm constantly looking at different things. I look at the news briefs every morning to try to figure out what's worth sharing with folks. They have all kinds of stuff under dementia and Alzheimer's and Lewy body and Parkinson's and so forth, but I don't want to drown everybody with, a long list of medical things. So I pick out certain things, and then people email me thanking me for, or thanking both of us after seeing this, the Facebook Live. And, they want to let us know how it helped them or help them to help their person that they're caring for. So yeah, I guess I'm on my computer a lot. Um, and then, because, we're in Maureen's office right now. And, this is what she does for a living. She's on the computer, she's on the phone, she's studying for different things. And so I would normally want to come in here and talk to her, surprisingly.
And he does.
And I do sometimes. And it's never the right time.
I'm not asking you to justify your time on the computer. I know that's meaningful engagement for you.
Mike Nixon, he says, I get frustrated being physically restricted as well as the dementia. Find other positive things. Major League Baseball spring training in Florida.
Right. He talked about walking the dog. So again, it's not that you're doing wrong. I don't think you're doing wrong. I think it's balance.
You think? Oh, I know. I was just explaining to them from my perspective of why I do what I do. But yeah, she's always looking for me to do something that's going to help. To help me use my brain, to keep my brain active. And I appreciate that about her. And she doesn't do it.
Brain. You do a good job at keeping your brain active. You're engaged online. You play games on the computer. And that's all amazing. I'm talking about keeping your body active.
Oh.
And ladies and gentlemen, you'll please take a snapshot of the one time that Brian LeBlanc was shut down. He had nothing to say. What'd Melinda say? Being on the computer helps your sense of purpose, but going for a walk would only assist in making certain that your brain gets what it needs. Maybe take a dance break. Ooh, a dance break. I think that would be fun. We've got that nice space in between our dining room and our living room that we could have a dance party.
Thanks a lot, Melinda.
Dance party. Yay. Yoga. Yoga. That's and if you sit and look out our window that looks out over Tampa Bay, I mean, with the sun coming up, I cannot think of a more perfect place to do yoga.
And the person saying yoga, she can actually balance her body on one finger.
Yes,
okay. So I tried that.
And Judy Pritchard, hi Judy. Different types of cognitive stimulation is so very helpful. So again, balance. I know Brian's engagement and his advocacy and his education is important. It's valuable. Not only important to Brian, it's important to everybody.
Yeah.
But I wonder, in this whole meaningful engagement, meaningful activities, I wonder where the people who are supporting the person with dementia have a responsibility to encourage them to do something other than sit.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it. And I'm not criticizing. I'm really appreciating, if I can speak, appreciating everything everybody's mentioning here, because it's helping me to feel like I should encourage you to do physical things, and I should encourage you to have activities other than sitting and being on the computer.
Let me ask you this question.
And I should do them with him.
Let me ask you this, though. If you, Maureen and I are both on the board for a nonprofit called Thriving for Life. And the two things that they have are music programs and art programs. Now, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic when I say this, but when I sit and listen to music like yesterday when I woke up in a fog, sitting there listening to music, it sparks my brain. It's kind of like a jump start. Same thing with people that do art, coloring and so forth. I also color. I have these color apps that
On
you
the
can,
computer.
on the computer. But I also have coloring books that still sit underneath, in a little drawer, because
He has the big box of Crayola crayons, which our granddaughter plays with more than he does.
Yes, and that's basically the only time that I'll color manually is when Emma is with us. I've got to force myself to get off of the computer and do things. Maureen and I had the discussion this morning about walking. And, both of us want to do that. We both want to walk. And
I don't want to walk.
you
I
don't
want to ride
walk.
a bike.
You want to ride the bike.
At the gym.
At the gym.
And I want to use the equipment at the gym.
Right. So I'm wrong. So I want to walk. So, but I always find some way to say, oh, but I have to do this first. And, oh, I have to do this first. And then next thing you know, it's time for bed. And
it's 7 a.m. Oh, it's time for bed.
But yeah, we did have that conversation just this morning.
So I thought it would be helpful to us and maybe helpful to others to hear an actual, this is what we are having a conversation about. This is a struggle for us. I don't know when to push, and I don't know when not to push, and I don't know when to say, you know what, if he doesn't want to do something, that's his choice. Leave him alone. Whatever, to me, someone who has something going on with their brain would want to be physically active because that keeps the blood flow and the oxygen flow to the brain going. But that's to me. That's what's important to me. That's what makes sense to me. It's not what makes sense to Brian, and it's not what's important to Brian. And so going back to the activity that I asked you all to do in the beginning of this, if on that list of 5 things that are important to you, I all of a sudden said starting today, we're going to do exercise every day, and you didn't want to, even if it was the best thing for you physically, what's the right thing to do? And I see that Melinda mentioned going for short walks.
However, when I do, when we did go out for walks together, and we did at first, when we go out for walks, at the end of the walk, I feel wonderful. I really do feel energized, but it's just the fact of going out there and doing it. And that's what I have to convince myself to do. Now, Mike, I do play guitar. I have 2 guitars that are sitting up on their stands, and they basically collect dust. I'll pull them out every now and then just to see if I remember chords and lyrics and so forth. I find that I don't remember lyrics too well. So I have books that have the lyrics in them plus the chords, and I'll play for a little bit. But if you play guitar and you stop playing guitar, you lose the calluses on your fingers. And so then your fingers are all indented with the strings. And I know it's an excuse. I should push through and keep doing it at least once a day and incorporate that. Yes, I can. Can you walk?
Ice cream place is a reward. There's a Dunkin' Donuts right down the street, but let's remember he's got diabetes.
Yeah.
So yes,
there is a ice cream place though very near here. It's called the Freezer. So I could reward myself.
Well, we're wrapping up on our time, but I wanted wanted this to be a true example. I don't know that we've necessarily found the answer, but this is a true example of what goes on with us. And, you know, I recognized, Brian said to me this morning, I'm sorry that I was so selfish about this whole exercise thing. And then I went in to get ready and I was thinking about it. And I said, actually, I'm sorry. I said to Brian, actually, I'm sorry I wasn't more selfish about this for myself. Because I think if I would just go out and do things, he would go with me. My thing is I think we enable each other sometimes to not do the things that we want to do.
Yeah.
And yes, he does take pictures.
I do.
So again, I right now, I just don't know that I have any answer except for that I'm going to start being more selfish. And I'm going to start putting myself first because I can't give from an empty vessel. So I'm going to start filling myself up.
Right.
And if you want to come along, I'd love to have you. I think that's the right answer. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today.
Yeah. And I also want to make sure that today's Facebook Live was sponsored by Caregiver Support and Resources.
Please go onto Facebook and like my page. You can also go to caregiversupportandresources.com and see our website. And I think we'll have a continued conversation another week. And yes, I think that's a good idea. I think I'm going to have Brian next week play the guitar for everybody.
Would you like a 12-string guitar or a 6-string? Because I have both. So
doesn't really matter, just the guitar.
I'm just saying.
We love you all so much, and thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to be with us. And thank you for all of your input. I'm going to go back and review all of this, and thank you. Thank you. You've helped me to learn today.
And thank you for joining us as you always do. Mike Nixon, I'm not going to learn how to play the tuba because I value my life. So he said, tuba would be good. And then you would force me to play the guitar.
Well, see, I make sure Brian's things are out in the open where he can see them. He used to have his guitars stuffed away, and I make sure that they're out in the open where he can see them.
Yeah.
So anyway, have a good week, everybody. Talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.